It gave me everything I wanted it to give. He's got some daddy issues, that's all I'll say. Alexa. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. April just ended. It's my favorite time when I get to talk about everything that I read. I love doing a wrap up, especially when I've had a really good reading month. It's so fun to go back through the books and talk about the books that I love and try to convince you guys to read them. So we're gonna just hop on right into this video. I read 8 books this month and I'm excited to talk to you guys about them. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. No particular order, just hopping right into it. So this is actually the book that I read most recently. This is Ricochet by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is book 2 in the Addicted series. I just decided to pick it up. When I read the first book, Addicted to You, I wasn't like too crazy about it. I thought it was interesting, I was intrigued, I was there for the drama. But after I finished it, I hadn't thought about this series for a while. Then I decided I wanted to pick it back up, so that's what I did. I picked this up. So this actually picks up right where Lo and Lily left off. Pretty much all of the same tropes are here. Friends to lovers. You have a lot of addiction and things pertaining around that. So definitely check the trigger warnings for this before you dive into the series, because I feel like it's very trigger heavy. We're kind of just getting to see how they're navigating everything post the big situation that happens, and it's kind of painful. It's really sad, but we also get a lot of background on like their upbringing, which is really interesting, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed Lily's journey in this book. I was like rooting for her and excited for her to get to the bottom of things. I was very excited about that. And you'll notice I'm speaking very cryptically because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who wants to or is in the process of reading either of these books. But yeah, I was very excited about that for her because I was also curious myself where this came from. I feel like their like characters and their personalities are starting to mesh a little bit more, and I'm enjoying seeing that kind of found family aspect come together. With a lot of books, I feel like, you know, the found family is easily formed, but with this, it's definitely more of a process, and so I'm really enjoying that aspect of watching things come together. I think I gave Addicted to You 3.5, and I'm gonna give this the same. It wasn't anything like too crazy or magical. We're just getting like more info about the characters. We're getting to know the characters a little bit more, and I do feel like if I continue this series, I'll end up really liking it. Okay, so the next 3 books I have talked about a lot this month, so I won't spend too much time on them, but these were the 3 books that I read for Booktubers Recommend Me a Book. I had some great selections here. I enjoyed all of these books. So first up, I actually read Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. This is a second chance romance. It was the cutest. They're also college sweethearts. They met in college in their senior year. They're both super artistic, so she's a musician, he's a photographer, and it's so sweet to see them kind of like bond over these passions that they have and include each other and admire each other because of these passions that they have. It was so cute. Something happens where they end up not talking for several years. At the point that we're picking up this story, our main character, Maddie, his life is a mess. Like, his life has just fallen apart at the seams. And one day he is hopping onto the subway, because this is based in New York City. He's hopping onto the subway and he sees Grace, who's the female main character, and they have this misconnection moment. Like, you know in movies when they're like passing by each other on the subway, like that's literally what happens. And he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I gotta figure out where this girl is. Like, what's going on with her? I haven't heard from her in years, and we had like this intense year together. Like, what happened? We get them trying to find their way back to each other, figure out what happened, and along the way we're getting their backstory, which is so freaking cute. I absolutely loved this book so much. I rated it 5 stars. So good. Read it. The next book that I read for that video was Archer's Voice. I was very excited to hop into this one because people talk about this book so much and people are so emotional about it, and I'm like, why? Like, what is this about? I feel like the title alone kind of draws you in because you're like, Archer's Voice, interesting. I'm not gonna spoil too much for you because I felt like I really enjoyed the full scope of things because I did not have anything spoiled for me. But this was also a beautiful love story about acceptance, going out of your way to bring people who may be marginalized in and I truly fell in love with this. So our main character, Bree, she is actually suffering from some PTSD because something major happens in her life and she's spiraling. She decides she needs to get out of her hometown and she traverses over to this other town. I don't know where this town is, but it's a small town, like a really small town. Everybody's been there forever. She like really becomes heavily entrenched into this small town, and she meets Archer. They have this really weird encounter, and she's like, what's up with him? So she starts asking people around town, like, what's up with this guy? Like, you know. And over the course of the story, they're telling her little bits and pieces, but then she begins to have her own interactions with Archer, and you just get to see them kind of grow to be friends and then grow to be lovers. So you could say this is somewhat of a friends to lovers trope kind of going on in here. It's really cute. But I would also check trigger warnings for this, because although this was like super cute, it definitely had some heavy topics in here. I gave Archer's voice a 4.5, and I only gave it a 4.5 because I felt like the ending was kind of rushed. I just felt like it happened kind of out of the blue, the ending, but it was still super, super cute, and I loved the epilogue. Like, oh my god, it was so cute, and I highly recommend reading this. It was really, really good. The last book that I read for that video was By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. I was really looking forward to reading this because I just thought it was so cute. We have our two main characters. They're in publishing, and it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which was like so cute. We have our two main characters, Isabel, who's called Izzy, and then you have our male main character whose name is Beau. I mean, this book was literally like a very, very close retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Even though it was modernized, most of it was set in California, a lot of little references to Beauty and the Beast were snuck in there, which is like kind of cute, kind of cringy sometimes, but like it was just like a cute, lighthearted, fluffy read. This had, I guess, to an extent, enemies to lovers, even though they weren't really enemies, and they really weren't enemies for too long either. They really started warming up to each other, which is also very much like on par with Beauty and the Beast. I thought it was cute. I gave it a like 4.25. I also thought it was super cute because in the dedication it says, to all the black girls who loved books and wanted to be princesses, this one's for you, which is so cute. In the beginning of the month, I read these two books, Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home, and Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, both by Jessa Hastings. Gave them both 5 stars. They were literally amazing. I'm not gonna talk about these too much because I've been talking about Magnolia Parks all month, and I'm sure you guys are like, Kira, shut up. But just know I love these books dearly. I happen to know that she's already working on MP3, and that literally makes me so freaking excited because, as always, we were left on a cliffhanger, and even though Daisy Hates comes after Magnolia Parks usually, it always just ends up giving you Daisy, Christian, and Julian's perspective of events from the Magnolia Parks book that came before it, which I loved. And I really, really was looking forward to that different perspective in this book because I absolutely fell in love with Julian, and I was like, immediately, need to see his point of view now. And it delivered. It gave me everything I wanted it to give. Very briefly, because I do get a lot of questions about Magnolia Park since I talk about it so much. The book is just about a close-knit group of friends who are part of London's high society, and they're like drama, they're dating drama, but also like ultimately the main point of it is it's telling this love story of the two main characters, Magnolia and BJ, who've been in love forever, and over time they have just been so destructive to their relationship, but they're still in love. Definitely make sure you look up the trigger warnings. Just trust me, read it. And if you read it, let me know. Next up, we have The Atlas Paradox. I feel like I've talked about this a lot this month as well. This is the second book in the Atlas 6 series. I really enjoyed this book. I think that the characters in this series are very complex. Some of them are unlikable. It's hard to tell because they're so gray that you don't know if you like them or you hate them. And like one minute you like one of them and hate the other, and then it switches. So it's just like a constant mind game, and you're constantly getting exposed to different levels of their character. It's a fantasy, dark academia book. Friends to lovers, you have enemies to lovers, like everybody's in love with each other basically. Which is wild, but really makes it interesting. The 6 main characters in this book are recruited by the Alexandrian Society to basically see if they have what it takes to formally join the Alexandrian Alexandrian Society, and every 10 years the Alexandrian Society picks 6 of the most powerful mediums to compete for a spot in the society. The society is like super sought out because they have so much access to so much knowledge that other people in the world don't have, and these people are like, knowledge? Yes, please. Like, that's really important to them, and they want to develop their powers, become more powerful, some for altruistic reasons, some for personal reasons, selfish reasons, all types of things. On the cover of the Atlas 6, it says knowledge is carnage, and that's what that book is. It's just about the power of knowledge and what lengths people will go to for knowledge, and yeah, it's crazy, but it's so good, and I can't wait for the Atlas Complex to come out in January of 2024. Yeah, that's a while away, but I'm still very excited for that. Lastly, we have Unite Me, and this is a novella. It's 2 novellas in one. I'm pretty sure there's a novella between each of the Shatter Me series main books. So this is 1.5 and 2.5. I just read the first novella in this series, which was Destroy Me, and I think it ended on page like 110. And then here you can see after I read Unravel Me, which is book 2, I'll pick up 2.5, which is the novella that comes after. So this actually was from the perspective of, what is his name? Warren or Aaron? What's his name? Warren is an no, it's not Adam Kent. Alexa.
Shatter Me by Alex Grayson's characters are Stephen.
Work smarter, not harder. Okay, this is actually from Aaron Warner's perspective. He is the enemy in Shatter Me 1. So seeing his perspective is interesting. He's giving me morally gray character vibes, but also there seems to be more to him that I'm excited to explore in book 2. He is definitely a more complex, complicated character than we are led to believe. But then again, I feel like anybody who was like in the position that he was in, doing the things he was doing, has to be damaged. Like, there's something wrong with you. It just picks up basically where Shatter Me left off, and it gives us the aftermath of everything from Aaron's point of view. He's got some daddy issues, that's all I'll say. I am planning to continue the series. Maybe I'll try to pick up the next book in May and see what happens, see how I like it. If you guys have read the Shatter Me series and you like it, let me know when it starts to get really good. So yeah, guys, these are all of the books that I read this month. I actually felt like I had a really great reading month. I enjoyed like all of these books, and I'm hoping that May will continue on the same trend. I think that all of these books I'd recommend to pick them up. Like, these were great. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you got some recommendations from it. Let me know if you read any of these books, and let me know your thoughts on them. I love talking about these books with you guys. Even if you have a different perspective, I think it's so important to hear like where other people may have like not liked a book or disconnected. Thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.
When you're not here, the sun don't shine. When you're not near, I don't feel like I do when you're with